Ghana, proudly known as the gateway to Africa, is a country heavily endowed with uniquely wonderful languages which represent and serve as a means of identification in knowing one's tribe and even history. Ghana-based health organization Baby Kaafo has begun a nationwide move to propel the speaking of Ghanaian languages more to preserve the identity of the Ghanaian people. This is a mission that the advocates Baby Kaafo believe would go a long way to build unity, togetherness, and more importantly, development in the nation.
Globally, people are trying to discover themselves in an age where people are wondering whether they belong to this person or that person, etc., etc. There's a lot of digitization of stuff, and there's a lot of mixing of cultures. So you notice that we have a challenge in various countries where people can't find themselves and their uniqueness. And what we know is that one of the key places where people actually understand themselves is in the language they speak. Now, if you understand Baby Kaafo, the vision of Baby Kaafo is to ensure that no mother or child in Ghana and in Africa dies as a result of the lack of the right information at the right time and in the language they understand. Now, because of the fact that we are working in the language people understand, we believe that it is strongly one of the core things we need to promote in this country and in Africa: the adoption, the love, and the value of our local languages. Again, also because if you study research and what is happening, languages are getting missing. But languages are a source of culture, data, uniqueness, and then also the nuances of health, etc. There's actually research to show that people are known to know how to get better if they can speak in their local languages, the effect of the local language. So Baby Kaafo is promoting this initiative, Spelling Gene, because we want to ensure that no mother or child dies as a result of the lack of the right information at the right time and in the language they understand. And you see, mothers speak to children in their local languages. And when you have a problem and you can explain it in your local language, the impact and understanding and the potential solutions that you receive is different. It is better, it is aggravated to a higher level, and the expressions are better. So we believe that the Spelling Gene is something that we are initiating to promote the adoption of local languages in our country. We have a generation also that basically wants to move with what is trending. And what is trending is simply what people have taken and made to trend. And we believe strongly that through the Spelling Gene, we are actually going to make our local languages trend. We are picking it from something that you do just at home, something that you do just maybe in your corner, in the room somewhere, to something that you stand out there when you're having a technical conversation, when you are seeing a doctor, when you are doing a presentation, when you are writing a business proposal. You want to do it in your local language. Why? Because through the Spelling Gene competition, you have seen that every single word in your language or in the industry you are in, there's actually a local word for it. So that is one of the key reasons why we are doing this, to make the adoption of our local languages more exciting, more relevant, and people to understand the value. We are also doing this because we need people and we need our languages to grow. Languages grow, the more people use them. And 9 of the languages in Ghana are virtually on the endangered list. We need to get this thing back. So we are promoting the local languages so that people all over will understand that, oh, no, in my language is something that people are ready to speak. People are looking forward to speak. People want to speak. And when I go out there, I can actually speak it. That will also cause academia. Okay, academia. They are talking about the various universities, the various language centers like UPSA, Winneba, University of Legon, Kia University, to also start looking into developing all the nuances and the new languages and the words that are needed to ensure that a typical Ghanaian can run from home to work, to relationships, to business in their local language directly without having to reference a foreign language or the language of our colonizers. So that's basically the vision for Baby Kaafo. And we want Ghanaians to come and adopt this. We believe that each unique person in Ghana who speaks a local language qualifies for Baby Kaafo spelling competition. So there's a belief that people will follow what is just trending, which is true. But let's have 2 things in mind. What is trending is not accidental. People do it. I take a product, I talk about it, I advertise it, you become familiar with it, and then you think that it's trending because another person is talking about it. All right. Our generation follows that, and it is every generation. What we are looking at is this. If you notice, there was a period in Ghana when we introduced Friday wear. If you actually observe the trend, after we introduced Friday wear, the adoption of our local dresses started increasing. People started wearing it because now you can wear it to work. People started adopting it. People started wearing it. The thing for people to be unique and to represent themselves and their culture is in it. all they are looking for is a vehicle that will make it, in quotes, trendy, or will make it relevant, or will make it, for want of a better word, sexy enough for them to want to jump on it. And that is what we are going to do with this. Every single Ghanaian would wish they had the opportunity to speak their local languages. Every Ghanaian who travels out of the country actually comes back wanting and wishing they knew their local languages. So we know that it is simmering in the hearts of people and in their minds, and they are hearing it. But what has not been provided to them is a vehicle through which this thing that is inside them will be expressed. So the way African wear was introduced to Ghana, and it is changing the way we dress, and people are falling in love with themselves. Then look at music also. Some years back, 90% of the music we listened to was foreign-based. Now, we have our Sarkodis, we have our Shatters, we have our Nigerian friends, we have our Cote d'Ivoire friends. That is what is happening. People are gravitating back to who they are. And through the spelling G, we are also going to add to that movement and get Ghanaians to fall in love with their local languages, to want to speak it. And mark it, when you see on TV an adult or a professor or a student or a doctor or a lawyer who is actually speaking and spelling in his or her local language, whether it is Ga, Ewe, Twi, Dagbani, Dagari, Hausa, Nzima, whatever, Wali Mampuli, speaking in it, and we were like, oh, that is a doctor who can actually speak a pure, full language or spell words that I didn't think a doctor would want to do it. The younger generation will say, okay, then this is something we can also adopt. And we believe that, like what we call a tipping point, after a while, give 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now, when somebody meets you, the first language they speak to you is their local language and not the English, because they'll come to appreciate the beautiful value and the uniqueness and the excitement and the importance and depth of their language, and how through it they can express themselves better.
Is the Hausa a Ghanaian language?
Okay, so Hausa is not a Ghanaian language, or what we call an original Ghanaian language. The way English is not an original Ghanaian language, nor French is not Italian. But what we have is that in Ghana, we have a sizable number of people who speak Hausa. Even in West Africa, it is the most prominently spoken language. So being a practical organization promoting languages for the sake of the fact that no mother or child should die, we believe that we have to be practical on the ground. We are not being theoretical and doing academic stuff. We are doing what happens on the ground. So if Hausa is one of the core languages spoken in the country, and it has virtually been adopted, some people don't even know that it's not a local language, but then it is close to us because it's a Nigerian language, and Nigerians are just our sisters and our brothers. So as part of the things, to get a message across to everybody that we want everybody, once you're in Ghana, we are adding Hausa to the original local languages, so that the people in Ghana who also speak Hausa as a language, and some even as a first or second language, will realize that this is for Ghana. For spelling G is all about Ghana. So yes, indeed, Hausa is not an original local language, but practically, it is a language that is spoken on a certain level in terms of the population of Ghana. And the spelling G in Ghana takes cognizance of that, and we believe that we should introduce it and add it to the whole program. So that is why we are adding Hausa, because it's a practical language.
When are you ending this program?
So the program is actually going to start. Today was the official launch, as you know. It is actually going to start in September. From now to September, we are going to advertise and push it out to the public. As you know, we are having it twice in a year. We are going to have the school angle of the competition, like the way we have national science and math schools, etc. So we are going to have the school angle, and that is going to be by the primary school students. We are targeting the primary schools because in our laws, it is the primary level that the local languages must be taught default as the language of instruction. In the senior high school and the tertiary institutions, the local languages are specialized course subjects. So it's elective subjects. So it's not everybody who speaks it. So we are starting with the primary school, and we are targeting nationwide, all the primary schools. We are going to have the competition on the school level. Then in the second half of the year, we are going to have it open to the general public. This is because our local languages are not school locked. They are not boxed in schools. It is a language that you have to speak anywhere. Once you are born, you speak a language. So we are not going to give you the option to come only when you have gone to school. So we will have the open one, the way we have Ghana Most Beautiful Date Rush, where any Ghanaian can come, you apply, you audition for it, and then we run it. And it is going to run for 13 weeks on TV with our partners, our main media partners, YFM, YTV, and then Happy FM. We are going to run it on TV and on radio, and it is going to be something that is going to be exciting, and it's going to run for 13 weeks. So for the first half of the year, we have 13 weeks. For the second half of the year, we have 13 weeks for the general public and 13 weeks for the schools.